So Idan, first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming and compliment on your work. We are here today to know your music and your artistic project much better. On the 1st of June 2009, you've been in Trento with your group for a concert that concluded a series of artistic and musical performances. So we would like to focus this interview on the question of cultural diversity. So my first question is, what gave you the idea of mixing culture through music, different culture through music?
For those of the Italian people who are not familiar with the Israeli society, we are all immigrants in this city, in this small country, and also in the streets of Tel Aviv. Every 10 or 15 years, there is new immigration that changed the face of the Israeli society, from Yemen, from Morocco, from Ethiopia, from North America, and I've noticed as a musician, when I was a support artist, support musician for pop artists, that you never hear the voices of the minorities on the primetime TV or in the mainstream radio. This project, till today, we've been recording with around 85 musicians. The youngest is 16 years old, and the elders are like 64, 79, 83, and 89 years old. And all of them are bringing to the project their own background. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to define, if I would need to define the music of the project, for me it's Israeli project, but it consists on the communities and minorities of Israel. So you actually, by listening to the music of the project, I think you can hear the voices of the street of Tel Aviv.
About my second question, how would you define your musical genre?
For me, this music is Israeli music. I think that for people outside of Israel, they will always define it as world music. But world music is a definition for foreigners. Because if I hear Italian music, for me it's world music, no matter if it's tarantella music, or it's, you would define it as tarantella, or is it a folk, or even pop. But for people outside of Italy, they will define it as world music. So for me, I hope that I'm doing Israeli music. And if people are saying to me that by listening to the music of the project, it's like this is their soundtrack for Israel, for me it's the biggest compliment.
I'd like to abandon for a moment the artistic context to talk about immigration and integration. In the light of the experience you gain in your group, do you think that intercultural approach to diversity proposed by many academics to obtain peaceful coexistence in countries with a large numbers of immigrants is a good way of gaining the peaceful coexistence or not?
I think that in this project, people are bringing their own culture and create a new music. So you can say that in Israel you can see that people are not living in ghettos. You will not find a Chinatown or a Jewish quarter. All the people are living together as neighbors. In a project like this, people are able to keep their own roots, but still share it with the community. I think this is also give answer to racism questions, because most of racism issues caused by being ignorant. But I'm performing outside of Israel with our native languages, Hebrew or Amharic or Arabic, to show to the world other faces of the Israeli society. I think it helps for us. We feel like cultural ambassadors for Israel, and I think it will help also even to people not only from Italy or from the US. I hope that people from Lebanon or from Syria or Palestinian people will listen to this project and will see different faces of the Israeli society. And I think it's very important that people in Israel will listen to Kulthum or to Feroz, to music from Syria, to read books translated from Lebanon, because what we know in Israel about Lebanon is mostly about the Hezbollah. I think that peace will start when people will see the people that living near them as neighbors, as not an enemy.
In your project, there are artists coming from countries which have experienced or are experiencing powerful ideological or political conflict. Has this ever created any problems within your group?
This project bring to the recording studio or stage always around 85 musicians. For 85 musicians, they will have 86 opinions about everything, about politics, about everything that we need to do. In my group, there are people that are super right-wing. Some of them are super left-wing. They will never agree about the way of Israeli politics should be. We have also non-Jewish or non-Israeli people in this project, such as Marta Gomez from Colombia, Somi from Rwanda, people from Cape Verde, also even Mira Anwar Awad from the Arabic community. And also myself, I have a very strong political view about what is going on in Israel. But the idea is that although we will never agree about these things, we accept the differences. And when you accept the differences and you don't try to convince each other, you just show that there is another truth and you can follow it. You can follow it in another way. Because I think that 95% of the population wants to live in peace. It's just different ways of how you see it. Till today, none of the members of the project left because different points of view. So it's good.
And what has the reaction been during your performances in front of governments or ordinary people?
When we perform outside of Israel, for me, I can't even say it's a dream come true, as we really never dreamt to perform outside of Israel. We're performing outside of Israel, we're singing to the world our own native languages. So first of all, I really have to give thanks to all the people all over the world that are listening to this project, because they must be very, very open-minded to listen to music that they can't understand the lyrics most of the time, but just the idea, or they follow up the website and translations. I'm very happy that among our audience we see people in high positions, even political, such as the General Council of Pakistan was in our concert in New York. We see people from the UN are interested by this project. We're giving interviews to all the media all over the world, even to stations such as Al Jazeera, or a station that or giving interviews to Le Monde, really all over.
So the theme of the 2009 Festival of Economics of Trento is identity and global crisis. Many economics suggest that the international economic crisis is faced at local level. So the states close themselves to the global market as a defense of their territory. But many academics suggest a global approach to the international global crisis through a dialogue between governments, but more in general between population. Your project represents an example in the artistic sector of this international opening. In this sense, in your opinion, could collaboration between different artistic and cultural backgrounds represent a testing ground for global coexistence which could be exported within a broader social and economic context?
I don't know much about financial aspects. I'm going to work, I make my money, I bring it to my family, and I think most of the population, they don't know much about these issues. Most of the population in the world, they want to wake up in the morning, to go to work, to get paid, and to go back home. Before the Second World War, when there was a financial crisis in Germany, people would, when the Nazis party tried to get more voices, they accuse the Jewish for having this, the Jewish people for having this crisis. In these times, when people will say to you, the American people are the cause for the crisis, you will start to feel bad thing about the American community, but most of the community in the world doesn't know why this crisis happens. They just know that maybe they will need to buy less, maybe they cannot afford themselves to do this and that. So we just need structures. Just as when you go to IKEA, you don't know how you build it. You just need to put this here, put this here, put this here. You cannot close borders. You cannot make this world as paranoid.